Ronnie the King Coleman is perhaps the greatest bodybuilder of all time. 8-time Mr. Olympia champion? Yeah, I think he realized his true potential. And that's the exact opposite of what we are looking for today in this video. We're looking for guys that did not realize their true potential. So why did I begin with Ronnie the King Coleman? Well, wouldn't it be interesting in an alternate universe somewhere? After the 1997 Mr. Olympia event, Ronnie the King Coleman, his placings slipped from the year before. He actually placed 9th in 1997. It would be easy to see a guy being discouraged and quitting bodybuilding. If he had quit in 1997, that would have been the biggest waste of potential of all time. Of course, we never would really realize that, would we have? Now, this is a fan request, and wow, a pile of you guys wanted to see this one. And I think this is the most percentage that I've ever seen. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the other 3 requests, just because you guys wanted to see this one so very, very much. Now, Paul Dillette, obviously, he is on your guys' mind for sure. And over there at Jake's Ultimate Fitness, he did a video just like this, just the other day. So, you guys probably requested that because you've seen it over there. Now, go watch his video. There's lots of bodybuilders on there. And I did a similar video featuring guys like Paul Dillette and Victor Richards, another guy with a huge wasted potential in the bodybuilding world. Now, I did a video, and Jake's Ultimate Fitness did a video. I will link you to them at the end of this one. Go ahead, watch them. But for this one, we have selected a whole new crop of bodybuilders. And yes, Gary Strydom, definitely worth to mention. Now, wasted potential. How did he waste his potential? Well, he placed fifth during his Olympia debut, which was good, was decent. And then he uprooted and went to Vincent K. McMahon's answer to the IFBB, the WBF. So Gary, in fact, wasted his potential to be a Mr. Olympia champion. Because I think for a time, he could have been. He may have actually been the one to defeat Lee Haney. You never know. You never know. Let's switch gears, shall we, to a very familiar face. Mike Mentzer. Do I consider him a wasted potential? A waste of potential? Well, not really. He actually won the Olympia, the heavyweight class anyway, and then lost to the champion of the overall, to Frank Zane. So, I don't know if I would count that as a waste of potential. He did quit very early on in his career, so there is no telling how far Mike Mentzer could have gone. But I think for this video, I am more focused on careers like this gentleman's right here. This is Lance Dreher, a true hidden gem in the bodybuilding world. Not only was he massive, but he had a tiny little wee waist as well. And he did not lack any muscle groups. This guy's back was unbelievable. Look at this. Look at the arms. Look at the traps. Rear lat spread there too. Condition for his time wasn't bad. Not bad at all, actually. When was his time? Well, he competed in 2 Mr. Olympia events, 1982 and in 1983. Both years, they gave him the shaft. Sure, there was a lot of great athletes, but they pretty much placed him dead last. And if you watch those events, he was actually quite good. This man unbelievably robbed from the IFBB for some reason. Maybe they had it out for him. Eventually went to NABA to finish out his career. He did periodically, is that the correct word there? He did return to the IFBB, but by then, the sting was out of his career. He was no longer a young buck in the early 80s. That time came and went. This is actually when he earned his pro card. He defeated the likes of one Gunnar Rosbo. And that is a segue into the next gentleman the next waste of potential. Gunther Schlierkamp for sure. He failed to get his pro card there against Lance Dreher, and then the following year, he lost to Lee Haney, and then he called it quits. You imagine. I mean, he probably gave Lee Haney a better run for his money than anybody else in years. So if he had just stuck with it, he could have been unbelievable. He was a true all-around bodybuilder. I mean, check out some of these poses. That front lat spread would have been unbeatable. So not only Lance Dreher, but the somewhat similar, I guess, in a way, Gunther Schlierkamp are the exact type of careers that we are looking for in this video. Who's next? Oh my goodness, look at the size of this guy's muscles. This is Phil, not Heath, Phil Hill. He was an incredible bodybuilder. Now, why did he not become a success on the bodybuilding stage? Like the other two brutes, bruisers, he had it all. I mean, wheels, upper body, lower body, unbelievable. He was doing good. He was a Mr. USA champion. He even won the Night of Champions in 1988. But that year at the Olympia, I mean, have a look for yourself, guys. You can easily see what happened. You had Momo Benaziza. You had Bob Paris. And you got to think, we weren't that far away from the Frank Zane era. Samir Banu, former champion. Brian Buchanan. He was unbelievable. He was mind-blowing. I mean, Quinn, Strydom, Lee Labrada there. It was a star-studded lineup. And the thing of it is, he actually defeated Sean Ray on the Olympia stage. Robbie Robinson as well. So it can be a very discouraging thing placing that low on your Olympia debut. And he never seen any real success on the bodybuilding stage after that. So Phil Hill, in my opinion, a true waste of potential in the bodybuilding world. But no real fault of his own. I think his timing was off. I mean, he couldn't see to swing a punch back in the late 80s. If he had competed in that mass monster era, look out, he could have been a true player. Who do we have next? Oh, look at this character. This is Marko Savolainen. And it is plain to see that he had potential. This is him at the 1997 Finland Grand Prix. And he was mind-blowing. Look at this, guys. He didn't place all that high, but it was a stacked lineup. You can see only the big stars, only the big names in the IFBB actually beat him. So could have been some funny work going on there. Who knows? Who knows? He was very all-around, was Marko Savolainen. I mean, he really did not hit a bad pose. So what happened to him? Why did all this potential go to waste? Well, he returned, and he kind of sucked. Did not even look like the same man. If he could come back from the past and just have a look at himself, he'd be like, I'm getting out of here. Da, 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 da. But anyway, yes, Marko Savolainen, and he returned at that Grand Prix the following year, and then he took a couple years off, returned back in 2001. Not even close did he ever come to that 1997. So we will always have that image in our minds of those biceps from 1997 Finland Grand Prix. What a true waste of potential was Marko Savolainen. Next we have John Sherman. Look at this guy's physique. A better physique? I can't imagine. This guy was unbelievable. He became a pro in 1993. And as good as this guy was, he just wasn't very big. He was under 200 pounds. He was like 185 pounds. So he was just, he was competing in the wrong era. So why was he a waste of potential? I mean, he competed at some Olympias, didn't place very good. Well, in my opinion, he was a true waste of 212 potential. Let's face it, guys. Bodybuilders now are bigger, per inch than they were back in the 90s. So I believe guys like Sean Ray and Lee Priest, they would have been competing in the open if they were around now. And guys like John Sherman, it would have been the guys that were 180 pounds. They would have been competing for the 212 title, and I think he was he didn't compete at the right time, I guess, so it's not really his fault. But still, a waste of potential. He did return years later when they did have the lighter weight divisions, but I mean, he was in his late 40s. Still very impressive, though. Bravo, John Sherman. But just obviously was not his time, and he was not gonna duplicate what wow, unbelievable what he brought to the bodybuilding stage. Are you guys seeing this? You guys seeing this physique? Hamstring condition was in too. John Sherman, 212 division, waste of potential for sure. Wow, is he good. Now for the last guy on this video, we are going to get controversial. Very controversial, I might add. This is Jean-Paul Guillaume, and I hope I pronounced his name correctly. He was a bodybuilder, competed in the 80s. He did one Mr. Olympia event, didn't place very well. So why was he a waste of potential? He did not look very big, but shapely he was. Well, he was the guy that claimed natural. And I'm sure there was a lot of bodybuilders at that time that claimed natural. That Mike fella, but I don't know if I believe Mike. I think for the sake of this video, and to be honest with you guys, for some strange reason, I kind of believe Jean-Paul Guillaume that he was natural. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't come out of the closet, did he? And admit that he was taken? If he did, then I apologize. But I don't think he did. He was offering 10 grand at the time. 10 grand any time that he would pass a test that he's with flying colors, that he was 100% natural. Now, there's not too many, especially after the Liver King incident, there's not too many that I do believe, but one in particular that I for some reason I do believe is the earlier renditions of Ronnie King Coleman. And if you believe that, I'm sure there's some people that do, and I guarantee there's a whole pile that don't. Let us know in the comment section below. Well, if you believe one, the other one is also believable. These guys have similar physiques. I would say for sure they have similar physiques. And when you look at the front double bicep pose, even the non-believers would admit that this statement is true. You see those bicep peaks? You do not get those from taking steroids. You just cannot get them. Lee Priest, same thing. You can't get those from doing twisted curls and preacher curls or different types of curls. That is pure genetics. For sure. And training on top of that. So if you do believe one, I mean, think about it, guys. These guys are about the same size, and we all know how big, huge Ronnie the King Coleman got. So there is no telling how big Jean-Paul Guillaume would have got if he jumped on the steroids, if he got on some gear. You're not going to place anywhere in the IFBB, fella, on that natural streak. That's for darn sure. So, for not getting on that, the bandwagon, that is wasting your potential. And I know that sounds terrible, but the truth of the matter is, in the bodybuilding world, you are not going to come close to realizing your full potential as a natty. It's just not in the works. So you wasted your potential. You could have been another Ronnie the King Coleman. You never know. If you believe that, then I guess that is somewhat true. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Whether I believe that he is 100% natural or not, that is a story for another day, I guess. For this video, I do. I do. And I will argue with you guys in the comment section below about it. So go ahead, let me have it. Let me have it. But I do, in fact, hope you enjoyed this one half as much as I enjoyed setting it up, because you guys know it is a treat of the week for me to do videos like this. Love digging into the history and, of course, things of that nature. Have a great one, guys.